I'm not fighting no more. Kelly, let me do my job. I just told you I didn't want to do no interviews, and you said you are going to do interviews. Now you told me to do interviews. Now you're trying to take me away from them. No. Let me show Dante's Boxing Nation some love.
That's what I'm talking about.
He's been at the Mayweather Boxing Club for years, grinding, working hard. Dante also, paid a lot of his own money, just like a lot of different other companies, to support us. So I must show love back.
Dante's Boxing Nation, what's going on, guys? So Eddie Hearn, Joshua's promoter, he just recently criticized the ticket sales of Wilder versus Fury. Now, before I go any further, let me go ahead and make this very clear. Now, DAZN reached out to me to help promote the brand of DAZN. But just because they reached out to me, that will never stop me from speaking the truth. Eddie Hearn knows that, DAZN knows that. And as far as I'm concerned, Anthony Joshua ducking Deontay Wilder, it has nothing to do with DAZN. This is all Anthony Joshua as far as I'm concerned. But let me go back to the ticket sales. I want to quote everything that Eddie Hearn said. Eddie Hearn said, and I quote, "They've only sold 8,000 tickets in a 19,000 arena. They haven't even opened the top tier. That's how big their drawing power is. We'll see how the pay-per-view numbers do. If they're big names, they'll do 1 million buys." End quote. Now, guys, ever since Deontay Wilder has been calling out Anthony Joshua, I've been telling you guys, I know I'm probably in the minority, but I believe that this is Anthony Joshua's doing. I don't believe that this is Eddie Hearn. I believe that Anthony Joshua is the one that does not want to get in the ring with Deontay Wilder. The reason why I believe that is because, once again, about 2 years ago, when Wilder first started aggressively calling out Anthony Joshua, Eddie Hearn, he responded right away, basically saying that he would love to put Anthony Joshua in there with Deontay Wilder, and Anthony Joshua would knock Wilder out in 3 rounds. And then right after he said that, Anthony Joshua, he came out and he said something that was the polar opposite. He said, "Look, man, I'm not in a hurry to fight against Deontay Wilder. I work hard to get to the point to where I am, and I'm not going to be rushed into fighting this guy, etc., etc., etc." So that led me to believe that it was Anthony Joshua that did not want the Deontay Wilder fight. And of course, Eddie Hearn has no choice but to be loyal to whatever his fighter wants. Now, and as far as this, how many tickets they sell, none of that really matters. None of that really matters for a lot of different reasons, because once again, we already know that Anthony Joshua, he said out of his own mouth on camera, if they give me $50 million, I will fight against Deontay Wilder. And to Anthony Joshua's surprise, Team Wilder came up with the money, which I don't know why Anthony Joshua or anyone thought that they couldn't come up with $50 million. I mean, they work with Al Haymon, who financially is one of the most powerful people in the sport of boxing. When it comes to demanding Wilder has to hit a certain pay-per-view number to get a certain percentage, etc., 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 let me say this. Not only did Anthony Joshua completely eliminate that excuse once he pulled that $50 million demand, but then Anthony Joshua, he did a poll on his own Instagram asking the fans who they want to see him fight next. And to no one's surprise, overwhelmingly, they picked Deontay Wilder. So why would it matter how many tickets Deontay Wilder sells? I mean, quite frankly, it wouldn't matter if only Deontay Wilder's family showed up to watch the fight. This is the heavyweight champion of the world. Can you guys imagine if every other sport shared this criteria? I mean, imagine watching the Olympics and finding out that we're not going to get to watch the best fight the best in the gold medal match because the Russian fighter that made it to the finals, he doesn't have as many fans supporting him as the Cuban fighter has in the crowd. It's a ridiculous ideology, guys. I mean, why didn't Charles Martin, why didn't Povetkin, Why didn't Dominic Breazeale? Why didn't Carlos Takam? Why didn't all these fighters have to meet the same demands that Deontay Wilder has to meet to get in the ring with Anthony Joshua? I'm telling you guys right now, even though it's Eddie Hearn saying this is going to affect Anthony Joshua's legacy more than anything if Anthony Joshua doesn't get in there with Wilder, especially if Wilder goes in there and looks sensational against Tyson Fury. I mean, even the UK fans in the country is starting to turn on Anthony Joshua when it comes to demanding him to fight against Wilder next. You have tons of UK fighters coming out saying it. Carl Froch, he said that it was Eddie Hearn's fault that the fight is not happening. Lennox Lewis, he blamed Anthony Joshua on not taking the fight. Many fighters have come out from the UK and criticized Anthony Joshua for not taking the fight. And finally, you have the fans. When Anthony Joshua beat Povetkin, he asked the crowd right there, who you want me to fight next? And that crowd all started to chant Deontay Wilder. But you notice, you don't have any American fighters or trainers blaming this on Deontay Wilder. They're all blaming this on Anthony Joshua as well. So it's unanimous on both sides. Something else that needs to be noted. We know that this is not all about ticket sales. It's not about ticket sales at all, because the contract that Team Joshua sent over to Deontay Wilder, it stated that if the fight ended in a draw, there will be no rematch. So that clearly tells you guys this has nothing to do with money, because we all know that a fight ending in a draw is the best reason to have a rematch when there is no conclusion, when there is no clear winner, right? That's the reason why sports like basketball and football, they have overtime, because there has to be a conclusion. I mean, what type of fighter? Why would Anthony Joshua go into a fight and not want to get a rematch if the fight ends in a draw? Why would he not want the rematch? It's almost like his feeling is going to be, woo, I just got that over with. Thank God I don't have to fight that monster again. I mean, it almost sounds like it's something Anthony Joshua is forced to do that he doesn't want to do. And if he does do it, he hopes he never has to do it again. Like going to the DMV or going to court or something like that, right? Getting pulled over by the police. Experiences you have that you never want to experience again. That's what that implies when you say, if this fight ends in a draw, I don't even want to come back and fight that man again. So no matter what type of demands Eddie Hearn comes to pay-per-view buys, all this is going to do is hurt Anthony Joshua at the end of the day, because he will be remembered universally as the guy that did not want to unify the titles and fight the best heavyweight in the world, Deontay Wilder, or the other best heavyweight in the world. If Eddie Hearn can tell the public that if there is no Wilder fight, we're going to fight against Dillian Whyte, we're going to fight against Big Baby Miller, or whoever it is, you notice once they mention those names, there's never any type of concern if the fight will happen or not, right? They usually, when they mention other names, they're confident that the fight is going to happen. And that's because they know whatever Dillian Whyte and Big Baby Miller ask for, Team Joshua is going to give it to them. They're going to make sure that they're comfortable just because they want to make the fight. And that's exactly what people do when they really want to fight someone. They make sure they make the fight. So when I hear these fans try to defend Anthony Joshua by saying, hey man, well, the money, it's all about the money, and he, Wilder is not worth this, and et cetera, et cetera, that should not be anything that concerns you. Because if you are a boxing fan, you should be demanding that we get these fights. That's what all fans should be doing. Nobody should be sitting over here giving someone a financial excuse why he shouldn't take the fight. Because how does that benefit you? That's almost like saying, you know what, man, I want to see this fight, but I would rather pay more pay-per-view so Anthony Joshua can get paid more money. I don't want to watch this fight unless I have to pay more money to watch the fight. I mean, does that make any damn sense? That's pretty much like what you're saying. It doesn't benefit you that the fighter is getting more money. The only thing that benefits you as a fan is getting to watch great fights or getting to watch them at a good price. So once again, no matter what Joshua comes up with, all he's doing is shooting himself in the foot. Before I wrap this video up, I want to go back and touch on what I was telling you guys before when I started this video about DAZN. Once again, Anthony Joshua ducking Deontay Wilder has nothing to do with DAZN. Just like Sean Porter ducking Errol Spence, it has nothing to do with Showtime. If Lomachenko decided he didn't want to fight against Mikey Garcia, it has nothing to do with ESPN, and so on and so forth. I personally like what DAZN is doing right now. I like the fact that Canelo Alvarez would have originally been fighting on pay-per-view for about $80, and now we get to watch that fight for $10 on DAZN. I like that. I'm hoping that DAZN, ESPN, and all these networks, Showtime, I'm hoping that they all take this approach and help push out pay-per-view to where we no longer have to pay $80, $90 just to watch one fight. I mean, you have never heard me trying to boycott any network when it comes to putting on boxing matches. Now, some of these promoters have contradicted themselves in the past, like maybe even Bob Arum, but when Bob Arum does something that I want to see as a boxing fan, I congratulate him for that. Putting Manny Pacquiao on free TV against Jeff Horn. These are things that I encourage. And the reason I'm mentioning all of this is because I noticed when I was talking about DAZN in my last couple videos, there was about 1 or 2 people in the comment section that were basically talking about DAZN as if they were a rival gang. And this is gang banging that we're doing. But we're not gang banging though. We're not gang banging. My main objective is to speak the truth. I mean, I knew that there were people out there criticizing DAZN, but I didn't know that out there boycotting DAZN. And one thing I really can't stand is when fans try to group us all in one category because what someone else said. That has nothing to do, whatever somebody else said, anywhere, it has nothing to do with what you guys have heard me say. I have never contradicted myself on this situation when it comes to DAZN, when it comes to Anthony Joshua. Once again, everything that I have said about Anthony Joshua is without apology. And that's nothing personal towards Anthony Joshua. I like Anthony Joshua. I just want him to give the fans the fights that they want to see. And there is no bigger fight than Anthony Joshua versus Deontay Wilder. You guys have to excuse the roosters in the background. It's 11 in the morning out here in Thailand, so they getting it in. But anyway, getting back to my point. Like I said, I want all these networks to succeed, and I've always felt that way. I mean, I don't roll with no gang, so no one speaks for me. But once again, we'll be doing a radio show this Sunday. If you guys want to talk about this, call in and we could talk about DAZN. We could talk about how you feel about DAZN and whatever else is on your mind. I'm going to go ahead and wrap this video up. I also want to do a video on Jamal Charlo's situation with Eddie Hearn and DAZN as well. So I'm going to go ahead and wrap this video up, get to that one. That's all I got for now, guys. I'm on to the next one. Oh yeah, one more thing. I need to make a correction. I told you guys that you would watch the Canelo versus Fielding fight for $10. Actually, you'll watch that fight for free if you guys click on my link. Make sure you guys click on my link and you'll go ahead and watch that Canelo fight for free. And you'll watch all the other fights for the whole month for free. And you're also supporting my channel by doing that. All right, guys. So that's what it is. I'll catch up with you guys. I'm on to the next one.